Hey, this is Ford from The Ford Show over at thefordshow.com every Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. East. Check it out. Cheap plug. This is my first vlog, episode 1 for Gerwick.net. If I'm pronouncing that wrong, please correct me, but that could be the hardest name to pronounce in all of wrestling media. Just saying. But this is my first episode, and I wanted to spend it talking about Impact from last night. I was there in Chicago, and I had backstage passes. I was there actually at like 4:30 in the afternoon until about 10:30, until after the second show was taped. And I just want to say the crowd was hot, red hot, and there were things being thrown at Aces and Eights. I don't know if the cameras picked it up, but there were things being thrown. In fact, a couple of guys that were sitting in front of us, they got the boot. We were sitting right there along the aisle where Aces and Eights would come through the little chute that they would come out from. So that was pretty cool. We were right there when they were walking back and when they came out and stuff like that. So that was a really cool experience. The crowd was great, as I said, and I hopefully it came across that way on TV. I haven't watched the show yet, but I plan to. It's on the DVR. The second show was really good. The main event is great. I don't do that spoiler thing, so I'm not going to tell you what happens. But it was a really, really good match with a solid finish. But all in all, my experience it was really cool. The backstage stuff was awesome. Seeing all the boys and the Aces and Eights, and you got to see Brooke Hogan up close and personal. Gail Kim, AJ Styles walked by us. Matt Morgan is a monster, and he kept giving me the stink eye for some reason. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. He didn't like the color blue that I was wearing. I don't really know, but I was like, why is he giving me that stink eye? I was told that's his natural look, so maybe that's just his natural look. And Matt Morgan, I love you. But it was a really cool experience being back there. I'd never been back there at a major promotion like that. I had David Lugano walk by me. I should have stopped him and said, hey, it's the Ford Show from Twitter. But he looked a little busy with Matt Conway, and they were shooting some pre-tapes and stuff like that. In fact, we were walking by the room, and they were filming the backstage vignette of Aces and Eights when they were celebrating on the table, like, and we were walking by and we heard them making all that kind of noise, and we had no idea what was going on until we saw it later on in the show. So the crowd was really great. The show was really good. Hopefully, like I said, it came across that way on TV. But I sat there and I watched the show, and I looked over at Joey Vegas, who's one of the guys that does the Ford Show with me on Wednesday nights, and I'm like, man, I can't believe that 4 million people watch Raw and only 1 million people watch Impact. It just doesn't seem right. It just doesn't seem right. It should be a little closer than that. It should be maybe 4 million, 2 million. I mean, it should be a lot closer. Impact is a good show. Solid, very solid. I don't know. I can't figure it out. I don't get it. And I'm really getting behind the Aces and Eights thing, and I think that's a lot has to do with Bully Ray, because I was getting really sick and tired of it. I was like, Jesus Christ, let's get to the leader, please. Let it be Jeff Jarrett or Eric Bischoff. And then it was Bully Ray, which was a nice little swerve, I guess you can call it, because the internet had been talking about Bischoff and Jarrett for months. So that was a nice little addition to the pay-per-view, which I bought, paid for, ordered it, watched it, loved it. But it bothers me. There should be more people watching Impact. I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't know. But I do want to mention real briefly here, I had two older gentlemen were sitting to my right last night, and we were having conversations in and out during the show, mostly during the second show, because you could tell the audience, we were just kind of burnt out after doing the live thing and then doing this pre-tape. I think you'll see next week's show, the audience wasn't as hot as it was for the first show, because you kind of get burned out after 2 hours of screaming. So we did a lot of talking, me and the two older gentlemen next to me, during the second show, and these guys were talking about, just they're going back, they were doing history lessons with me. It was fantastic. The one guy was talking about how he saw Flair in Mississippi in '87, Hattiesburg, and he was in the front row, and he was yelling away to Flair, and him and Flair were going back and forth, and Flair gave him a wink and a smile and rolled back in the ring, and it was really cool. Like, I love the wrestling business. Eat, breathe, sleep it, always. and to have those kind of conversations with those people, because I don't know people like that in my personal life. I can't call my father up and be like, hey, Dad, talk about the old school wrestling, because my dad really wasn't into it. So for me to sit next to these two older guys and to hear their stories, and they talk about the old guys and the Buddy Rogers, the Baron von Raschke's, and Dick the Bruiser, it's just really cool to sit there and hear those type of stories. It's the same type of stories that I will share with people about today's guys in 30 years from now, when I'm still going to a wrestling show and I happen to sit next to a young kid who's, rooting on Jeff Hardy's son, or whoever, whatever the case may be. But it was a really, really neat experience to talk to those old guys, and I really had a lot of fun. In terms of this thing that I'm doing right now, this is a lot easier for me than writing. However, I didn't expect to have to do it in front of a flip cam like this. I had a couple of issues with the way that I originally wanted to do it. This thing will find its identity. But I wanted to get at least one episode out there, the first one, talking about last night. I really wanted to get that out there before last night became old news. So again, my name is Ford. I'm from The Ford Show at thefordshow.com every Wednesday nights. I'm going to be doing these video blogs, or vlogs as they say on the internet, for Gerwick.net. Again, Steve, if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, please tell me, because I don't know how to pronounce it right if I am pronouncing it wrong, and I'd love to get your name right, Mr. Hardest Name in the Business. So outside of that, I have nothing else except more people need to watch Impact. And if you watch Impact, tell your wrestling buddies to watch Impact. It's a good show, and it deserves more eyeballs. I'll see you guys maybe Monday, Tuesday. I'll talk about Raw, stuff like that, heading into WrestleMania. I don't really know. But thanks for watching. Steve Gerwick, I appreciate it. I appreciate you giving me the time on your website. Again, I am Ford. I'm from The Ford Show. You can get me on Twitter at The Ford Show and tell me what kind of an idiot I look like standing in front of a flip cam. I know. Trust me. I know. In the meantime, I'll see you guys later.